When you think about K-pop albums, your mind probably jumps to the title track, the big single, the music video, the choreography. But what if I told you the most important song on K-pop album sometimes isn't the title track at all? It's the intro. That short track at the very beginning that sets the mood, builds anticipation, and tells you what kind of world you're about to step into. Today, we're exploring why K-pop intros matter so much, how different groups use them, and how producers craft them to match the concept and lead seamlessly into the title track. In Western pop, album intros are often skipped or treated as filler. But in K-pop, they've become an art form. Intros are world-building tools, framing the entire album before the first full song. They set the concept whether it's dark, dreamy, futuristic, or playful. And they often act as a transition into the title track, making the listening experience feel cinematic and intentional. For example, EXO's Mama from 2012 opens with orchestral chants and narration, almost like a movie prologue. Right away, listeners knew EXO was selling not just songs, but whole universe. BTS is a masterclass in using intros. In their school trilogy, Namjoon, Suga, and J-Hope each opened albums with rap-driven intros that introduced the themes of rebellion, dreams, and self-discovery. Later, intros like Singularity or Persona became iconic on their own. What makes BTS unique is that their intros are just not warm-ups but they're chapters in a bigger story, preparing fans emotionally for the journey ahead. Dreamcatcher flips expectations by combining K-pop with heavy rock and metal elements. Their intros make that crystal clear. From intro Welcome to the Dream World to intro Nightmare, you'll hear distorted guitar riffs, pounding drums, and cinematic build-ups. These intros often feel like the opening credits of a horror film, immersing you before the first lyric even begins. For fans, Dreamcatcher intros aren't background tracks, but they're integral to the group's dark, nightmare-inspired identity. With Triple S, intros play a special role because of their rotating units and fan-voted songs. Their ensemble intro uses experimental electronic beats, glitchy synths, and futuristic textures. These intros give cohesion to a group with constantly shifting lineups and concepts. In other words, while their titles may change based on fan input, the intros provide a stable sonic identity across projects. Stray Kids are one of the best examples of a group that treats their intros almost like movie trailers. Because the members produce most of their own music, they have the freedom to build an intro that reflects the exact vibe they want for each album. Take their album, Go Live. It starts with the track Go, a hard-hitting cinematic intro with industrial beats and distorted vocals that launch you right into their high-energy title track, God's Menu. Or No Easy, which begins with the intro, cheese, playful, chaotic, and loud, just like the group's trademark sound. For Stray Kids, intros are a declaration of the album's personality. Enhypen's intros are deeply tied to their lore and storytelling. Since debut, their music has revolved around themes of vampires, desire, and destiny, and the intros reflect those narratives. For instance, their debut album Border Day 1 starts with intro Walk the Line, which features spoken word narration, atmospheric production, and symbolic lyrics that set the stage for their story. Later albums like Dimension Dilemma use intro Whiteout, which feels like stepping into an entirely new universe. What makes Enhypen's intro stand out is how they immerse the listener into the unfolding storyline. LE SSERAFIM, on the other hand, use intros to build atmosphere and emotion. Their debut album Fearless begins with The World is My Oyster. The powerful spoken word intro layered over dramatic synths and strings, symbolizing their themes of confidence and breaking norms. In Anti-Fragile, the intro track, The Hydra, sets the tone with hypnotic instrumentals and poetic lines about growth through adversity. These intros prepare the listener for the bold, empowering messages of their title tracks. Both ATEEZ and NCT treat intros like the beginning of a cinematic universe. Late ATEEZ albums often begin with dramatic narrations or orchestrations, like Intro Long Journey, evoking imagery of pirates setting sail or heroes preparing for battle. NCT's intros lean futuristic and glitch-heavy, mirroring their experimental, multi-unit identity. These tracks act as doors to their worlds, immediately telling listeners, this is the story we're about to tell. Another group that truly embraced the power of the intro track is Luna. Known for their ambitious storytelling and universe building, Luna often used intros as a way to set the stage for the concept of an entire album. For example, the 12 album begins with the track 1200. A celestial, synth-heavy intro that immediately transports listeners into a cosmic atmosphere before the explosive title track Why Not kicks in. Similarly, their debut mini-album Plus Plus opens with the intro Plus Plus, which uses dreamlike chords and soaring synths that perfectly flow into Hi-Hi. What makes Luna's intro stand out is how they were crafted not just as mood setters, but as spatial pieces within their larger lore. Each intro adds to the mysterious, otherworldly feel of Luna's music, reinforcing their identity as a group that was always more than just a collection of songs but as whole experience. Behind every K-pop intro is a careful production choice. Producers don't just make short instrumental but rather design an entry point to the album. Matching the concept is crucial. If the album is dark and cinematic, producers lean on orchestration, distorted guitars, or heavy synths. If it's dreamy, they use airy pads, reverb-heavy vocals, or delicate piano. Many intros also end in a way that flows directly into the title track. For example, BTS' intro School Love Affair transitions smoothly into Boy in Love. The two tracks are separate but connected. Producers often use intros to experiment sonically, adding textures or motifs that reappear later in the album. This creates cohesion, making the whole record feel like a single journey instead of just a playlist of songs. K-pop intros may be short, but they carry enormous weight. They're not just filler tracks but an artistic statements that establish concept, mood, and narrative. From BTS intros that double as storytelling devices, to Dreamcatcher cinematic riffs, to Triple S experimental cohesion, to ATEEZ and NCT's world building, these tracks prove that in K-pop, the beginning is just as important as the big single. So next time you hit play on K-pop album, don't skip the intro. It might just be the key to unlocking the entire experience.